Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Drunken Atheist Podcast. I'm Jack.
I'm Brock.
Yay, we kind of did it this time. Uh,
Hey,
we got to
we
work on
figured
it.
it out eventually after, I don't know, like
I,
80 episodes, something like
I don't know.
that.
I feel like we're missing the pizzazz with the intro. I like the I got the first part right, but like when we say our names and stuff, that's kind of where we fall apart and we kind of lose our spark. We
Maybe
got to
we
work
should
on that.
come up with like usernames.
Like oh like fake names. Like maybe
Hi,
just
I'm
use.
Chaos Killer 27, and this is, I don't know.
Yep, this is
You know,
Bicycle
I feel
Mike
like
22
I
on the
feel like
on
we
the
would
air.
be more in sync if you didn't take so many darn days off like last week. Tell us what you did with your week.
Oh, well, yeah, we did miss a week. I apologize to anybody that didn't get the memo. We did have to skip last week because myself and Ethan, the other guy who was here a couple times, uh, we were on a snowmobiling trip.
How did that go?
It was a lot of fun. I was in Maine. Other than within the first 30 minutes where somebody crashed, it went without a hitch.
Was it a bad crash?
No, it was no, nobody was hurt. He just ripped the ski off his snowmobile, so we had to get another one.
Oh, so not a crash, but
But
just a mishap, really.
yeah, just he was a little icy, so he slipped off the side and flipped it upside down, but he was fine.
I got you.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Um, I don't know, what'd you do with your week off?
What did I do with my week off? I feel like I did something important, but I don't think I did. I think I just went food shopping.
Did you get married?
Um, I did not actually.
No.
Sadly enough, I did not get married. Um, yeah, no, I didn't. Kind of a boring week. Just kind of existed for another 7 days.
Yeah.
Listened to the news of the world slowly falling apart.
Yeah, it's dreary out for sure. I don't want to make too many jokes about it. You know, it's definitely something you should take seriously. It's a real conflict. Not a lot of people have lived through that in our time, or our generation at
Mm,
least. At least
hmm
not at this scale. Hopefully, it takes a turn for the better. You know,
Yeah.
not much we can do about it. Just two assholes on the internet. But
Hey, don't do that. There you
what?
go. We did the most we can.
No. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Just wave our little proverbial
Stop.
sticks.
Stop it.
Stop that, Vladimir Putin.
So,
If you are listening, stop it.
what if he was a listener? Would you be really weirded out?
Uh, I think that would be a very odd thing for a world leader to waste their time listening to a like 10 viewer max weekly podcast. That'd be a
I
very
mean, he did make a TikTok while he was invading Ukraine.
Vladimir Putin made a TikTok.
Yes.
I have not been informed of this. What was he saying? Like
It's
just propaganda?
no, no, no. It was like a real TikTok. It was like the thing you do where you stand in like the same pose as a picture of your younger self and then you flash back to that same picture of your younger self. You know what I mean?
Are you fucking with me, or is this something that
I am
actually
not. I
happened?
swear to God, this is real. If I can find it.
I don't need to watch it now, but I believe you. I'll look at it later. But wow, that's
But like
interesting.
of all the pictures he could have picked of himself, it's a picture where he had his t-shirt like tied in a knot in the front and it's really strange.
Well, I mean, it's kind of weird, like nowadays, like with political conflict, the different mediums which, like, propaganda and messages can be shared. Like, I remember, like, the day before, stuff kind of hit the fan, Ukraine, like, verified on Twitter, just the country of Ukraine's Twitter account posted a picture of, like, uh, Putin and Hitler, like Hitler, like, was like, I don't know, like being nice to him or something, like basically just comparing the two.
hmm
And it's literally just like a meme. Like they just posted like a meme. It's like that's
Fun
kind of funny.
fact, Ukraine, the country on Twitter, it only follows other countries like Poland and Canada and Peru and stuff like that, and then it just follows the state of New Jersey, which is something I'm very proud of.
That's pretty cool.
Also, can we get a quick shout out to the Ghost of Kiev? That guy is cool as heck.
Yeah.
And now we know who he
Who
is.
is that the guy that blew up the bridge?
No, no, no. Well, that guy was cool too. No, the Ghost of Kiev. I'll read it right here. Ready?
Yeah.
Ukrainians named an unidentified fighter pilot the Ghost of Kiev after reports state that he shot down at least six Russian fighter jets. He became an ace within the first 24 hours of the war. Um, they found out who he was. I can't remember, I can't find his name, but it is an actual retired um, Russian or Ukrainian pilot, and he's just getting massive support. He's like this. A lot of people for a while thought that he wasn't real because he would kind of literally just swoop in, blow up a plane, and leave. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's probably just propaganda to make people really happy about it." But no, he's totally real, and it's really really cool. And the Germans, I believe are offering to give him a brand new jet, which
Oh
is
wait,
really
so
cool.
he lost his jet, but he survived?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But the jet he's flying is like 30 years old, something like that.
Oh,
It's from the 80s.
I thought because he was the ghost that meant he died, but he's still alive.
No, no, no. He literally just would single-handedly drop out of the sky, and within the first 24 hours of the battle, he shot down six Russian fighter jets
That's
and
crazy.
I think a few helicopters. Six planes reported: two Su-35s, two Su-25s, an Su-27, and a MiG-29. He is the first ace, the first recorded fighter ace of the 21st century, as well as an ace in a day, which means he got five uh, victories, they like to be called, in 24 hours. So yeah,
Wow, nice.
yeah.
You know what I find really interesting is that stuff like that story, like there's been a lot of stories like that I've heard in like just the past week. Like, there's the guy who they laid mines on a bridge to prevent the Russians from
Mm-hmm.
coming, but they were too late. So there was one Ukrainian soldier who instead of because they didn't have time to detonate remotely, he stayed behind and basically blew up the bridge himself and died
Mm-hmm.
in the process, but he stopped the Russians. That's a cool story. There's the
And the
one of
islands.
the island, of course. That was the coolest one, where basically there were like, was it 13 guys on an island
Mm-hmm.
in the Black Sea? It was like a Ukrainian base, and there was a Russian warship that pulled up and basically was like, "Yo, if you guys don't surrender, we're gonna blow you up." And then they just said the Ukrainians responded, "Fuck you, Russian warship," and they got blown up. But that
They all
was,
died, yes, but that is the
I
way to
mean,
go for your country.
if you're gonna go out, that's definitely the cooler way to do it.
I'll
Um,
say, if you can leave an impression before you go, I mean, that's the way,
right. And
you
then
know?
just the Ukrainian president in general has just been really,
He's cool
really
as
cool.
heck.
Yeah.
My personal favorite was there was a picture of a couple. I think the girl was 21 and the guy was like 24. They had gotten married the day like after the invasion, and it's a picture of them both standing next to each other, armed with AK-47s, going out to fight the Russians.
That's pretty cool.
And
Wait, so
like
wait,
that's
this
pretty cool.
was the president in there or no, not related?
No, 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 no.
Okay, but that's
But
really
I
cool.
just was thinking that. Yeah, the president's just kind of rolling hard.
Right,
He's a cool
because
guy.
he like had many offers from various nations to evacuate Ukraine for safety, but he chose to instead stay, and he knows he's a prime target for the Russians, but he wants to stay and fight like with his soldiers. Like that's got to be like the greatest morale boost of all time to just have the president fighting with you. Um,
I mean, it's really just kind of like, I mean, it's a horrible thing that's going on, but it really is kind of incredible what lengths people will go to defend themselves and the things they want.
right, yeah. What I was getting at, like with all these stories is what I think is really interesting is how these I guess you could call them war stories, right?
Hmm.
They're it hasn't even been like a week since this kind of hit the fan. And
The first invasion was, I think, Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
right. I mean, obviously there's been tensions for a while, but like since this kicked off, it's been a lot of stories coming out really fast and they're like really cool, but like normally like take like World War I, World War II, like all the other wars. I feel like these stories, obviously there's no social media back then. It would take years for this stuff to come out. It would be passed on from like generation to generation, but because of social media and the internet, we can just kind of get this stuff in real time, which is kind of crazy.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, as
almost too
opposed to, like you
fast.
said, as opposed to it happens and you don't hear about it for like a week.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's interesting. It's not really something that's happened before, so we'll see how it
It
plays out.
is, to be fair, it's the first like real war between, two actual countries in the first 21st century.
When
Because,
was the
prior
last?
to prior
Um,
to that, it was, you know, like the Saudi Arabia, or not Saudi Arabians, it's Saddam Hussein, invading all the Kuwait and all that. And
mhm.
after that, it was a lot of just, the United States military and the war on terrorism, where we were just kind of fighting groups of people. And now this is actually a country on country straight up war,
Yeah,
and both sides are being backed. Technically, it is almost a world war because both sides are being backed by every single country. I don't think there's a single country that's standing independent on it.
right. I mean, have you seen many countries backing Russia though? I mean, I feel like I've seen a lot in the news about.
Not besides the usual, China and the North Korea and
Yeah, okay,
countries like that. But
makes sense.
surprisingly, I believe Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia are backing Ukraine, which I guess kind of makes sense
Aren't they
because
kind of
they
like
are.
next in line for the shark on the food chain?
Well,
If the
back back in the 40s when the Soviet Union was around, they were like one of the first countries that the Russians just ate. So I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I saw
and
that Switzerland broke its like tradition of staying neutral.
hmm,
They
yeah,
decided to
that's how you know
finally
it's real.
right. Um, but yeah, if anybody
Yeah,
out there has loved ones in Ukraine, uh, prayers go out to you. Hopefully,
shout
everything
out
ends
them.
up well.
And while we're on the topic, let's talk about the weather in Kiev as
Hmm.
of right now. It is the
Okay.
middle of the night. It is, I believe, 12:30 right about now. 32 degrees, so pretty cold. Highs of 43, low of 25 throughout the night. Uh, you're going to get within the next 48 hours less than an inch of snow, so don't really worry about that. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's just going to be cold. It's going to be 30, 35. Feels like 27. Low of, we don't even know what the low is. Low is 25. High is, could be whatever. 75% humidity. 10 miles if you're flying. Shout out to the Ghost of Kiev. He'll want to know that statistic. 5 mile an hour wind coming in from the northeast. Dew point 25 degrees. Zero UV index. Don't even worry about the sunscreen. Jack, would you like to guess the moon phase?
Full moon.
It is a waning crescent. The air quality is good today. It's a 38 out of 100, which I feel like, if it was anything higher than like a 2, I would say it's not good. You got a 2% chance of rain rest of the week. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to be, you know, cold. It's going to snow Tuesday, Wednesday, probably Thursday. Friday, it's going to go back to rain.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I would say good luck.
Yeah.
The weather's not really on their side, but I mean,
Well, I mean,
you
it's not
know,
really favoring one side over the other if it's
yeah,
just the
it's
weather.
just kind of cold. So do your thing, Ukraine.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much we can do as podcast people. I mean, I guess if we had a larger audience, maybe we could petition something. But like, I don't think our one viewer is gonna do very much.
You never know.
Hey,
Maybe I'm
what?
telling you that one viewer is Vladimir Putin.
Oh, wow, yeah. Well, if you're listening, stop that.
Stop that. Stop.
All right. So, I got something to talk about. I This is something that I've had to like cross out and move like 1,000 times on my list, so I just kind of want to get out of the way.
Hmm.
How do you feel about spam, the food?
I am not a huge fan of it, but a guy that I live with cooks it in pretty much everything he eats. Not
Is he
everything. That
is he
was a
from Hawaii?
He is not.
No, because I
Is
know
that
that's like a
is it
big thing.
is it a big thing in Hawaii?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean I'll eat it. It's not I don't love it. It's
I've
just kind
never
of meat
had
in a
it.
can.
I've never had it, so that's why I'm asking.
It it's okay. I mean you can eat it. That's the best way to put it. It's
It
edible.
it doesn't seem like, I mean, obviously it's not the most appetizing thing in the world, but honestly, it doesn't look like as repulsive as people say. Like if you cook it correctly and prepare it, it's just like a ground meat essentially, right?
Yeah, no, it's fine if you cook it and, prepare it in a certain way. It just is if you watch it, dribble out of the can, that kind of looks unappetizing. But besides that, I mean, it's fine. Like I said, the best way to put it is it's meat in a can. You can eat it. You know,
That's
it's
their like
okay.
slogan, right?
It's meat in a can. You can eat it.
Is that not their slogan? I thought I heard that somewhere before.
I don't know. Is that
Maybe that's not true.
maybe I think you're I don't know. I'm gonna say that you're making it up. Oh, you were almost right. Hormel's wartime marketing slogan for Spam was "Miracle in a can."
Hmm.
Wow.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Um,
Now here's
well,
the
yeah,
question: do you know what Spam means?
what it stands for?
Yeah,
Uh, Sustenance. Is that the first one?
it's not a full acronym.
Oh,
There's a lot of different ones, but I
I feel
believe
like
the
I knew it at one point. It's something. Is it manufactured? Is that the M or is it
so
America? AM. I don't
the
know.
where it comes from, Spam is a shortening of the word spiced ham,
Oh, okay.
but there's a lot of acronyms that were made up, you know,
Yeah,
something such as something posing as meat,
that's pretty good.
or let's see. Yeah, there's just stuff like that. Shoulder of pork and ham
Is it just pork, like meat, pig meat, in the
and ham.
that that is pig meat? Yep.
Yeah.
So there's no
Well,
like there's
it's
no ground. It's not
spiced
ground
ham.
beef and pork. It's just pork.
I think yeah. I
Okay.
don't know. I will fact check you. I kind of just eat it. It is results for spam ingredients. what what is spam made of? From cooking school,
I feel like a
Food
lot of
Network.
people have definitely Googled this.
What sets spam apart from other products that are made from chopped meats are cooked and pressed together. Spam is made from pork shoulder and pork ham. There are no other scraps of the hog. So really, it's a pretty clean meat,
Hmm.
apparently. Pork shoulder is considered a high quality cut of pork today, although in 1937 it was not. Pork shoulder was sold in the supermarket and many people braise it until it becomes fallen apart tender. So, yes, it's just pork.
Cool. I kind of want to try it. I don't know. Is it at like the grocery store? You think?
Yeah, of course. Cane aisle.
Yeah. Okay. Next time I
And you
go, I
just
might just buy one for the fun of it and try it.
yeah, just you gotta just grill it. Not grill it, fry it.
Wait, can you eat it raw?
I wouldn't advise you to do it, even on
I wouldn't want to. I'm just saying, could you?
um
Because I feel like most canned stuff you can, but
I guess you can. I
I'm
mean,
not going to do
I
that.
I wouldn't do that. It would probably
Viewers, just we are not medical professionals. Do not eat
yeah,
raw
don't.
food out of a can.
I don't know. How about I look this up too? Can you eat spam raw? Can you eat spam raw? Yes, you can eat spam raw. The term raw spam is an oxymoron, as the other answers. Real spam must be prepared from pre-cooked. Okay, yes, you can eat it raw.
Yum.
So I I don't think I would personally. I think I would cook it, even though I don't eat pork anyway. But
Are you Muslim or?
I'm not. I think we've had this conversation before. It's just kind of a gross animal, and it's not good for you.
No, you're right. I mean, like a lot of religion. I mean, it's definitely more than just Islam that considers pigs to be like a dirty animal. I mean, a lot. I think most people acknowledge that they are dirty animals. They just eat scraps. They eat literally anything. Like the history of
Hmm.
pigs in America was actually something that we touched on in some of my history classes that I've been taking in college. and like they just kind of let them loose in like the dirtiest cities that were like still being constructed, and they just there's a lot of viruses and stuff that became of that, swine flu in
Right.
particular.
Right. 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 Yeah.
But yeah,
So go ahead. Go spam crazy.
cool. I
Spam time.
appreciate your input.
Thank you. I'm glad you asked.
Oh
It's
yeah,
something
well,
I'm passionate about.
um, speaking of passion, uh,
Oh.
we kind of like skipped Valentine's Day because of the weird timing with the podcast. Um, you want to talk about that?
Do I? Um, yeah,
You got
actually,
some hot
that
takes?
is. I do not have hot takes on Valentine's
You got
Day.
any?
You just
Oh,
reminded me of something that I did on Valentine's Day, though.
oh,
I did not have a date. I went and got a photograph of me professionally taken, but not by just like a digital camera, by, back in like the Civil War days when they used to take pictures and it would etch itself onto like a piece of metal.
yeah.
I got one of those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was my Valentine's Day. Now that you've kickstart my memory, that's what I did. Yeah, Valentine's Day. I think it's made up by big flowers to, buy more chocolates and flowers. I think it. I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think there should be, if you're dating somebody or with somebody that you really love, I don't think there should be one day where you have to be nicer than all the others. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the only thing that gets people to it's like the US government. It's their way of like managing population control, like to make sure that people are still having children, basically. I think that's my hunch.
Okay. Do you know where, history lesson, do you know where Valentine's Day comes from?
Saint Valentine, right? Because that's the full title, I'm assuming.
What did he do?
No idea. Was he Irish or Italian? I forget.
He was
I'm assuming
Roman.
Italian. What? Did you
Roman.
say? Oh, I thought you said a woman. She was a woman. No. Um, Roman. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What did he do?
Saint Valentine. So back during the Roman Empire, the Roman army, the soldiers, if they were in the army, weren't allowed to have girlfriends or wives or anything like that. And
Hmm.
as he was walking around one day past a barracks, he saw this, as the story goes, Roman soldier, Roman legionnaire with this woman, and the soldier was like, "Listen, I'm so deeply in love with this woman. You have to, you know, you got to do something about this." So he, I believe, I could be messing up the ending of the story, but I believe this is how I remember it. He wedded them and then got arrested, and I think he was executed. I could be wrong, but I believe he was killed for doing that.
So it was because the lady that he was in love with was what again? Or,
So the
or
the Roman legionnaire, the soldier,
right.
they aren't allowed to have any relationships with women because they can die in battle.
Oh,
And
okay.
so and they don't, pretty much the whole idea was like, if you're married or you have like a family with kids, you would tend to hold yourself back in battle to protect yourself to go back to them.
Hmm.
And so they weren't allowed to get married or anything. It was actually illegal.
I'd
And
like
so
to I'd like to say something about that. I think that philosophy, that mindset, that I think that's like the opposite of the truth. I feel like if you have like nothing to lose, like you have or like if you have no reason to fight, like you're not going to fight that hard. Whereas if you have a family like that you want to go back to, you would fight way harder. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of reversed, but whatever.
maybe, I don't know. That's just what the idea was. So yeah, uh he, you know, he was a saint, not a saint during the time. He was religious though. He was a priest, and he married them, and then he tried to get, I believe, the emperor of um, Rome at the time to convert to Christianity, which was very, very frowned upon at the time, because Jesus. And I think he killed him. They executed him because he was a Christian,
Wow.
on top of wedding a legionnaire.
Yeah, I'd say of like all the people who get holidays, that's worthy enough, I think. He did a cool thing.
Yeah,
He's
it's
like
pretty cool.
I mean, it makes. I mean, at least it's like in like the holiday makes sense for what he did.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean that's what he's known for. He's Saint Valentine. You know,
I mean, next week is what? Is that St. Patrick's Day next week?
it is not next week, but it is the week after
The week
that.
after. What did he do? You got any history for him?
Saint Patrick, man, what didn't that guy do? Saint Patrick.
He was
Well,
Irish, right? I'm assuming.
he was, I believe, Scottish actually.
Oh, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Don't
Um,
don't tell your Irish friends that. They might get upset.
I know that the Irish have adopted him, but I believe, from what I remember, he was Scottish and then became a bishop in Ireland,
Hmm.
as far as I remember. Yeah. Remember he was the one that cast all the snakes out of Ireland.
What? What does that
You don't
even
know about
mean?
that?
No.
He got rid of all the snakes.
Like 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 what? It's kind of like
Like
metaphorical snake or
no, like snakes.
how?
The all right, let me read you this little article here.
Okay.
Patrick banishes all the snakes from Ireland. The absence of snakes in Ireland has been noted as early as the 3rd century, but later legend has attributed the banishment of all snakes from the island to Patrick. As Roy Fletcher shows in his biography, the earliest text to mention an Irish saint banning the snakes from the island is in fact the life of Saint Columba. Uh, I think that's the book. The This doesn't tell you what he did or why he did it. Here they go. The more familiar of the legend is given by Jocelyn of Furness, who says that all the snakes had been banished by Patrick, chasing them into the sea after they attacked him during a 40-day fast he was undertaking on top of a hill. That's
Wow.
why there's no snakes, and for a very, very long time there weren't spiders in Ireland either until more open trade routes started coming in.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah.
There were no spiders? Dude,
Mm-mm.
dude, that would have been awesome. All right, if they ever invent time travel, I'm gonna go live in like I don't know, 11th century Ireland.
I don't think you want to do that because remember they were still starving.
Wait, was that the 11th century?
I mean, it's an
Wait, have they
island.
just always been starving until like a
I
hundred years
mean,
ago?
the Irish have always been struggling, and usually to no fault of their own.
Yeah. Well, I'll bring food with me. How about that? I'll bring like stuff that will actually grow,
I,
uh, and
okay,
not be inflicted with, you know, disease like the potato famine.
okay. So yes, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. The saint, he's the apostle of Ireland.
Actually, wait, I
So
changed my mind because if you go too
yeah,
far back, people are gonna think you're a witch and they're just gonna try and burn you alive. So I don't know. Time
here you
travel's
go.
tricky,
Here's
man.
here's the lore. Here's the lore. According to the autobiographical Confessio of Patrick, when he was about 16, he was captured by Irish pirates from his home in Brittany and taken as a slave to Ireland. Looking after animals, he lived there for 6 years before escaping, returning to his family, and becoming a cleric. He then returned to the northern and western Ireland. In later life, he served as a bishop, but little is known about the places where he worked. By the 7th century, he had already become revered as the patron saint of Ireland.
Wow. I mean,
So
that's pretty
there you
cool.
go.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
Scottish and Irish kind of. He did a little bit of both.
Yeah, he was just doing his thing.
Pretty cool guy.
Yeah. He was
Uh,
born in Roman Brittany and died in present-day Northern Ireland, which is
Wait, he's born
uh,
in Rome, Roman territory?
Roman Brittany. So he was born when Rome controlled the British Isles, the southern British
Oh,
Isles.
wow. Okay. Wait, Southern British Isles. Is that Scotland?
Yeah, like no,
Well, I thought you said he was Scottish.
I think he was.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of different confusing remarks because the Romans would always say, "Oh, we controlled all of, you know, the Isle of the United where the United Kingdom currently is," and then the the British would be like, "No, you didn't. There were barbarians that lived on the 98% majority of the island. You just owned a few cities in the southern part of the island." So it's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah. History be like that sometimes.
History do be like that.
Hmm.
Especially because there's no clear and present victor. They both kind of just would be at war with each other, and then both parties just kind of died out and then became the
Hmm.
modern world. So yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, I like that little history lesson about the two saints. I don't think that Saint Patrick has. I mean, like, was he known for drinking alcohol and like like? I guess I guess shamrocks are just Irish in general, but
he was known for shamrocks. All of his depictions of him have a shamrock somewhere.
so
Um,
is that where like the Irish shamrock came from? Was him or?
yeah, I guess so.
Oh, all right. I guess that makes sense then.
Let's
Cool.
see. Let's see.
Or,
He
yeah.
used a shamrock in a legend credits Patrick with teaching the Irish about the doctrine of the Holy Trinity by showing people the shamrock. Okay, I gotcha. I see how that makes sense. So
Hmm.
shamrocks grew in Ireland, and then when he was teaching the Irish people about the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, he used a shamrock.
Oh, that's really cool.
Good for him.
All right. I respect both saints equally now. I think they are worthy of their holidays.
In
Um,
pagan Ireland, three was a significant number, and the Irish had many triple deities. As a fact, Patrick may have aided in his evangelization efforts when he held up a shamrock and discoursed on Christian Trinity. Yeah, so Ireland.
all right. Can you give us a history lesson on the third saint?
The third saint.
Yeah. Saint Nicholas?
Oh, the jolly old dude, huh?
Yeah. Is he real? It's up
Yeah, of
to, I
course he's
mean,
real.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, of course he brings us presents every year. What am I talking about?
Where do you think he was born?
Uh, gee. That's not Alaska. It's probably like uh France.
He was Turkish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything cool about him? Did he do anything?
He was just a cool dude. He
Yeah.
just he was really generous and he would travel
What?
around.
What? I noticed you said was. Is that an error in your
Well,
speech?
yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if he's still cool as of this exact moment.
Oh, oh, okay. I thought you were saying he's kicked a bucket or something, but like that couldn't be possible.
Rest in beans, Saint Nick. Rest in beans. No, yeah, he was just really just a good guy all around. He would travel and be really generous, and a lot of people knew about him. And
Huh.
so the holiday of gift giving to people was given to him.
Is that's cool. Are there any more like holiday related saints? I think that's it, right?
Well, there's All Saints Day.
Well, is that what is that like all for all of them?
Yeah, it's just a day
Every
to a holiday to honor the saints.
okay, but like, is there a
Uh,
specific holiday for a saint? Halloween doesn't have a saint. Fourth of July definitely doesn't have a saint. The Easter Bunny, I don't think is a saint. But I guess
how about
Easter would
Jesus?
be Jesus. Jesus would be the saint. Yeah, you want to tell us about Jesus?
No. How
Okay.
about St. Andrew's Day? Talk about uh talk about St. Andrew's Day.
All right. I don't know what that is and or when it is.
It's not
Or
really celebrated.
okay.
St. Andrew was an apostle of the Holy Lord, Jesus H. Christ, also known as Andrew the Apostle. And let's see, let's read about him. He, I believe, is the patron saint, not patron. He might not be the patron saint, but he's a major figure in Scotland.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, same thing with a lot of these saints. They just traveled around and did really cool shit. And
Yeah.
several legends state that the relics of Andrew were brought by divine guidance from Constantinople to the place where modern Scottish town of St. Andrews stands today. The oldest surviving manuscripts are two. One is among the manuscripts collected by Jean Baptiste Colbert. Yeah, so he's very big in Scotland.
But
He led, according to legendary accounts given in the 16th century historiography, he led an army of Picts and Scots into battle against the Angles.
the Oh, like the Anglo-Saxons or the Angels?
Angles. You know, like the German savages.
Oh, oh,
The
okay.
guy that led this army into the battle, he vowed that if he gained victory, he would appoint Saint Andrew as the patron saint of Scotland. Sure enough, on the morning of the battle, white clouds forming an X in the sky were said to have appeared. For for preface, Saint Andrew was crucified on an X, and that's why the flag of Scotland has a big white X on it because it's on a blue sky and white clouds.
Oh, okay, there you go. I was like, this guy is fucking lame compared to the other three guys, but that is pretty cool. He's the Scottish guy. He's the Scot he is Scotland, basically.
The army took the field and, despite being inferior in numbers and technology, were victorious, having interpreted the cloud phenomenon as representing the Creux du Sicile, upon which St. Andrew was crucified. Oengius, the guy who led the armor, honored his pre-battle pledge and duly appointed St. Andrew as the patron saint of Scotland. The white saltire, set against a celestial blue background, said to have been adopted as the sign of the flag of Scotland based on this legend. However, there is evidence that Andrew was venerated in Scotland before this, but this is the most popular theory. Yeah,
Cool. When
yeah.
is this holiday? St. Andrew's Day? Is that a thing?
St. Andrew's Day is November 30th.
November 30th. That's like Thanksgiving, pretty much. Uh,
No,
Black, well, it's Thanksgiving time. It's like Black Friday,
it's
Cyber
holiday
Monday.
season, if you will say that. Yes.
Yeah, holiday season, I guess. Which is maybe is why it gets overlooked because that's like the highest concentration of holidays probably is
Well, I'm
around
sure
that
it's
time.
not overlooked in Scotland.
No, not in Scotland. I'm sure Scottish people definitely celebrate that. He sounds like a cool
Hmm.
dude. Um, I have something I really want to talk about, and I've been holding it in for a
You've
while.
been squeezing it in.
I gave you a little sample of it,
Okay.
but here it is. I want to talk about the bus. The
Oh
bus.
yeah, yes, yeah. Okay, we did
The
talk about
bus.
this
So
outside of this podcast.
when I say the bus, I am talking about the school bus, and I am talking about riding the school bus to school, whether it be in the morning or like to go to school or in the afternoon when you're coming home from school. Just some background. I rode the bus every year, morning and afternoon, from kindergarten, and
Hmm.
I stopped uh, junior year of high school was the last year I rode the bus. So that's what, like 12 years that I rode the bus.
A long
Um,
enough time.
yeah, so you could say I am an expert on the school bus. Um,
Yeah.
what about you, Brock? What are your
I rode the
credentials?
bus from sixth grade till I was a junior, till the day before I got my driver's license. So,
Wow. All right.
like 6 years almost, something like
All
that.
right.
7 years.
All right. Well, I guess
I put
you
in
know,
my time.
yeah, you're about half as much of an expert as I am, but that's okay.
Well, on
I
top of
don't
that,
discriminate.
plus, sports for the school, you ride the bus to faraway meets.
Right. That's a whole different animal, but I'll get to that. Um, so like I made my closest friends on the bus. And this is the thing that's it's kind of like I miss the bus, man, and it's getting to me. This is why I wanted to talk about this so much. Like
Hmm.
I ever since I left high school, there's a lot of things that change when you go to college. Um, you know, you live differently, you work differently, schedules different, flexibility, just tons of different stuff you got to consider. But the one thing I never really thought would be anything I would care about, and to some extent this was true in the senior year of high school, but at least I was, driving with people that year. Um, I didn't think that not riding the bus would be such a like big thing that I would miss. And the
I
reason
mean, it's one of those things where you had it for so long that you don't even think about it, and then once it's gone, you just are like, man, that was such a core memory.
Right, because I mean, I rode the bus for 12 years. Like that was like a staple of the school experience for me. And, you know, I rode the same bus because, I didn't move throughout those 12 years. I lived in the same spot. So
Hmm.
everybody else that rode the bus they rode the bus pretty much with me that entire 12 years. So those people on the bus were always my closest friends. And the coolest part was, even if um, those were people that, normally in school you wouldn't ever hang out with or talk to. Once you got on the bus, like it was a completely different story. It didn't matter like who they were, what clique they were a part of. You were friends. You were on the bus. You knew each other for years, and that was
Yeah.
super cool.
The bus was
Um,
kind of the last place where you could be a feral child. You know what I mean?
That too. Yeah, there's definitely some crazy things that happen on the bus. My bus was, I don't know. I think it's probably not the same experience for everybody. I had good bus drivers, and I think the people on my bus weren't like completely insane like I know some of the other people were on other
Hmm.
buses. Like I remember all of our buses had numbers. It changed a lot, but people would start to remember certain buses because of how infamous they were for like doing certain
Right.
crazy things on the bus. Like some like if the school troublemaker was on one of the buses, you'd always hear something about how they stood up and started like screaming or punched somebody or like threw something across like 100 seats in the bus or something. Lots of crazy stuff like that. But on my bus, it was always usually pretty tame. And I just have so many friends that I made, and a lot of them once they stopped riding the bus, that was like the last time I really saw them or talked to them. Some of them just moved away to different schools. Some of them just stopped
Hmm.
taking the bus, and then I didn't really have uh, like a reason to uh, or talk to them during school. And that was kind of sad. Because in like the later years of high school, once people got their license, they stopped riding the bus. So sophomore and junior year, it dwindled pretty fast. Like I was one of the
Right.
like the last. I think I was one of the few juniors who rode the bus. It was only like me and my neighbor and maybe like two or three other kids in my grade.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, if anybody else has any experiences like that, share in the
I wanna
comments.
tell a few bus stories that I can think of.
Go for it.
I was on bus number 10 from 6th grade till junior year. For some reason, didn't change numbers, but I guess it's because it's the same line. I don't know. Shout out to my man, my driver, literally my driver for all those years. He was the coolest dude. He was from, I believe, Colombia, and his name was Luis, and he was the sweetest little angel of a man, and I love him so much. And I thought I saw him actually while I was home over Christmas break, and I didn't, sadly.
Oh,
But I hope for the one day that I will be able to see Luis again, so I can just give him a big old hug because he was such a cool dude.
nice.
I was always the first on and the last off, and so Luis and I, like, we would talk about stuff. I'm in, 7th grade, so it's nothing crazy, but just have somebody to talk to. And it was such a cool thing. And I don't know. Let me think of some bus stories. Akash, the guy that we've referenced a few times, who may come on the show, might not. Who knows? He's a
Eventually,
fella.
one day we will get him
One
on the
day.
podcast.
So Akash, for a long time, was on my line, on the same line as me. And I have core memories. Let me out him really quick. For whatever reason, when we were in probably 8th grade, yeah, that makes sense, 8th grade or freshman year of high school, he was obsessed with the song Shoop by Salt and Peppa, and he would rap it out loud on the bus to people whenever he was asked to do it. And I can just still hear him doing it in my head. It was so funny. I have a picture somewhere deep in the recesses of my phone's hard drive of my crew on the bus because I was friends with a couple of guys and girls that were on the bus, and we would sit in the back and just hang. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was just cool. Did you ever have any fights on your bus?
Uh, Not that I can remember. Um, Not on my bus, or at least not while I rode it. What about you?
So we had one, and it was this kid who he was kind of just a jerk all around. He was just a troublemaker, really,
Hmm.
and he just wanted to start drama, like not drama, trouble, for the sake of it. And it wasn't even really like a fight. It was like this one kid like that he was sitting next to on the same seat said something to him and he just started like punching him in the stomach. And for the rest of that year, like that kid had gotten in trouble on the bus so many times. Like he, was standing up during you're not supposed to stand up. He would, he would do dumb stuff on the bus. He would throw stuff out the windows. And they eventually just kicked him off the bus. And I felt really bad because I knew that both his parents worked. And to be fair, it was probably a big mix of like neglect from his parents. I don't think he had a great home life. If he's out there now and listening to this, don't don't look me up. You were terrible. And so I remember our middle school. He got kicked off when we were probably in like seventh grade, eighth grade. He would ride his bicycle from the middle school to his house. Jack, it must have been like 10 miles away. That kid must have spent a good 2 hours on that bike all the way from school and back because he couldn't get anyone to drive him. And I
Damn.
remember feeling so bad for that. And I don't know, I don't know what happened to him. He just kind of disappeared one day. I think he went to military school, which
Uh,
might have been the right thing for him.
yeah, that's
Last story that I
so.
can think of. We were away at a meet. Oh no, I got two
Oh,
stories
all right.
actually
Well,
while
hold
I'm
on. Let
thinking
me
about this.
before you go into it. Like, I'm
Go ahead.
assuming this is a like a meet like a is it track? What is it? Defensing?
This was
You,
for fencing.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So meets like for any sport, whether it be fencing, track, I mean, pretty every sport has meets pretty much. Whether it's
Hmm.
or like games, I guess. Um, and like that is kind of it's a very similar experience where like you are with a bunch of people.
It's definitely different. I agree to that. But
Right.
these stories you can't make these up. These are so good they have to be included.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not.
So
So no, go into it. I just want to say like that
okay.
the bus for meets and stuff like that camaraderie that you feel going into a meet and also coming back from a game or something like it's unmatched. It like the energy on a bus is just with your teammates and friends is awesome. If
Right.
you are considering like joining a sport, any sport that you would drive somewhere to go to a meet in a bus, like it is very, very fun. So I would consider trying it at least once. But yeah,
So
go into
anywho,
it. Go into it.
this guy Andy, he was on our team. I probably shouldn't have said his name, but whatever.
Sorry,
Um,
there's a lot of Andys in the world, Brock. It's okay.
there are a lot of Andys, but I mean, you can't mistake this guy. He was a big fella, and everyone was kind of scared of fencing him because he was a big kid for our age group. And one day, it's an away meet. We're at this really, really far away school. I think it was like the farthest school that we would fence against. We're loading up the bus, and the way we did it was like the back like 5 rows would be for the equipment, and the guys would sit up front. So you would load in the equipment from the back emergency door,
Yeah.
you know, and Andy's sitting at the back. We load all the stuff up and we go, all right, Andy, close the door. He closes it and the emergency door, a metal bar rips off the door. And he's sitting there holding it in his hand. And we're like, did you just rip that off the door? And he's like, I think I did. And the bus driver was like, well, I can't drive this bus with an emergency door that could fly open. So we had to stay there an extra like 4 hours. And now it's like 10 o'clock at night and the bus finally shows up to get us.
Oh
But
boy.
I remember that. And it was so freaking funny. I felt so bad for him because I don't think he got in trouble, but he must have been so embarrassed.
Hmm.
Second bus story. This one I was just reminded of the other day because my high school fencing team went to the States, and this happened on our way to the States final. Our okay, there we were late already, so we were gonna take like a shortcut, I guess, to get there, which involved kind of going through not like a back alley, not like a city alley, but it was like this kind of back road. And at one point, it was a stoplight, and we had to make a left. And the best way to describe it was a three-way stop. So it had the left and, the lane facing us and our lane. And if you go left, like the way we had to go, it immediately went on like an incline. Like just, it went from flat to straight incline for whatever reason. It was not like a good incline. Our bus We got the front tires up, and all of a sudden, about 2 seconds after we got the front tires up, we hear thunk. We hear the back of the bus scraping against the ground. The back wheels are up in the air. It's bouncing on the front tires and the back tail end of the bus. So
Holy
we
crap.
had to we had to get off the bus and we had to be late for the uh meet.
That's insane.
And I will definitely send you that video right now because well I just it was the funniest thing in the world because it's like February so it's still dark outside at like 4 o'clock. It was like 6 at night and we're standing there freezing to death. It was
Wait,
so
when was
funny.
this?
Last year, not last year,
Oh wow.
2020.
Wow. That's crazy. So
And
that was senior year of high school, probably?
yeah, something like that. And oh, it was so good. Like the bus just literally was stuck. The girl that was driving it tried like flooring it. We got stuck on like the side of a road for like an hour until the next bus came. I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'll send this to you right now.
Yeah. I'm
But
not gonna
I
watch
just
it, but I will
oh
watch it
I know.
after.
But while I'm thinking about it, I'll send it to you.
But yeah, while you're sending that, I have a lot of stories that I can remember.
Let's hear them.
Um, all right. I'm trying to remember them all. All right. So one of them was just like so funny to me. Like what we just there was this basically this one kid that we always picked up who was like our route like we had to go out of the way kind of to pick him up. Like we had to go down one road like a while and then turn around and come back the same way. Like he wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really on like the easiest route, but there was no
Right.
bus other than that would pick him up. Um,
Right.
so we got him a lot, and I didn't know him well. But one day he was getting on the bus, and uh, like he kind of stopped at the like the stairs. And the bus driver was like a bird just pooped on your head.
Oh.
And it was a lot too. Like he was like dumbfounded. He didn't know what to do. Like he
Oh
just like
my
a bird pooped
God.
on his head like 1 foot before he got inside of the bus, so he wasn't protected. And like the bus driver was just trying to like give him paper towels to clean it up. And I felt so bad
Oh.
for the kid. It was just like the most
Have you ever
unlucky
been
thing.
have you ever been pooped on by a bird?
No, have you?
I have once while I was at the beach sitting in a chair. Luckily,
Uh,
I was trying to take a nap, so I had my head covered with a beach towel, so it landed on that. But like, ooh, I can't even
oh
imagine that. And then you have to make the choice of like, do I go to school or do I be late
no,
and like clean
no.
myself?
I think he stepped off the bus. I don't think he was
Yeah,
going
that's
to
what I would
school.
do. I don't think
I'm
I
not
think I
doing
would
that.
take that day off, honestly. I would just be like, this is
Yeah.
not my day. It's 7 in the morning. I just got pooped on by a bird getting on the school bus. This mom, I'm staying home.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what he did. There's also the one of the weirder ones was like I don't know about you, but my bus was late like a lot. And
Mine
sometimes,
was right on time. Shout out to my boy Luis. That man kept perfect time.
nice. Well, my bus drivers usually did not. And sometimes, like in the morning, uh, if the bus is late, it's like okay, whatever, like
Yeah.
they don't like if the buses are late, like they just push attendance out. You're not going to get marked tardy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's late, obviously in the afternoon, like if there's traffic or something, that's when it's annoying.
Well, yeah,
Or like
because
if,
it's now
or
it's
if they
your
just
time that's being wasted. You have to go to school, you
right,
know?
because that happened with my bus too, especially like the later years, whoever was driving, like she would always be late in the morning, which was annoying during the winter months because it was cold, but she would be late for some reason because she had to like pick up like kindergartners or like do something else with the bus. She would have to pull in like 10 minutes after all the other buses already left the school, and we're just like standing
Mm-hmm.
outside the school looking like idiots because our bus is never there, and it was really annoying. But one day.
Yeah, we had one like that one year.
Yeah, one day she just did not show up. Like
Oh yeah,
we
no,
were
I've definitely had that happen. That's
yeah.
definitely happened.
So like me and one of my neighbors or two of my neighbors I think three. Yeah, this me and three of my neighbors we share the bus stop. It's been us four for the last few years of high school, and she didn't come that day. We thought she was late, and then we're like, oh, she's really late. And I'm like, wait, did we miss it already, or is she just not coming? So then because none of us, I think when it happened, none of us had our driver's licenses yet. So what we
Hmm.
did is I took them all to my house. So we like marched back down the street to my house, and I had my mom drive all four of us to school. And it was kind of funny because like two of them I didn't really know that well, so we were just kind of, they were just kind of like piling in with us, and it was a fun little thing that happened.
So
Um,
you had a bus stop, did you?
yeah, did you not have a bus stop, or did
So
they pick you up at
my
your house?
my they had to pick me up at my house because the street I'm on doesn't have like a sidewalk or anything. It was a pretty active street, so I had to be picked up at my house. So that's why I was usually the last one on and the first one on, the last one off because it was just easier to get me.
Right.
And
Okay.
I would see everybody else. It kind of sucked in a way because I would see like when it was like closer to summer and it was warm out and people wanted to hang out, kids would get off at like say like Akash for example. Akash lives in a place where like it was a bus stop, so a bunch of kids would get off and they just like immediately run around and play with each other, and I had to go to my house and just get off at my driveway and just be lonesome.
Yeah. Well, my house was interesting because I used to have like they used to just pick me up at my house because my house is like on the road that the bus always goes by. So like they go right by, my house is the driveway connects to that road.
Hmm.
But like once it got later, they like basically just told me that they didn't want to just stop and pick me up. They just wanted me to walk like down the street to get picked up because I don't know, to save time or effort or something. I was like, all right, whatever. Um, but yeah, so I just completely lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Uh, what was I talking about? The bus.
Bus stops.
Yeah, bus stop. Um, yeah, so uh, shit. What was I gonna say?
I don't know. Probably something stupid.
I'm
Dumb.
trying to juggle like fucking five bus stories in my mind right now. Yeah, so yeah, my bus stop. I eventually had to move over and like I walked down the street to like the bus stop instead of just being in my house, like being a separate stop. But I actually like that because it was only like I don't know, like maybe like 300
It
like
was
a
close.
couple hundred feet. Like you could see it from my house. It wasn't not far to walk.
Hmm.
And you
Right.
get to socialize with those people instead of just standing at the end of your driveway all alone. And it would be even awkward because like even more awkward because you could just see the people like at the other stop, like
Right.
just stare. You could just stare at them. It's like weird.
I will say, really quick side story. There was this girl on my bus, and her and this one girl were neighbors. They would get on at the same stop. And then, for whatever reason, during the afternoon when we were dropping kids off, they requested that they be dropped off in front of their house. And it's like, you are neighbors. Just get dropped off at the same place and just walk. Like, their houses
Yeah.
were feet away from each other.
Right. Yeah, mine was really, really close. Well, we weren't neighbors, or like I wasn't neighbors with the bus stop by any means, but like it was pretty close. So yeah. But one thing interesting with that is that, in the morning, now that I had to walk to the bus stop, one thing happened and it kind of still freaks me out to this day because I never actually saw it. But basically, I was walking from my house to the bus stop, and they can see me, right? I said that, and when I got there one day, they looked at me like they just seen a ghost, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And they said, "You didn't see that giant coyote behind you," and I was like,
Whew.
"What?" Apparently, there was a coyote that had crossed the street
Yeah,
like
you were about to
right
get
behind
jumped.
me, and I had no idea, and that was like, "Holy crap, that's scary." Um, but also pretty cool, looking back. Um, well, yeah.
You should be like, yeah,
Um,
it was mine.
yeah, it's my dog. Um, did you ever have to do like fire drills? I'm assuming you did, because
On the
like on the
bus or
bus.
in
Yeah,
school?
on the
We
bus.
had, if you were in, they would take a day out of gym class, and it was usually, I think it was if you were in a sport for the school, so you were exempt from gym, so you would be traveling on the school bus to go to meets. They would
Hmm.
take a day out of gym and they would send in a group of kids at a time to this bus, and the woman would be like, "Okay, every window can be open to climb out. Here are the emergency exits." Blah blah blah. And the one thing I remember everybody was so fed up with by senior year because you had to do it every year. Was getting the way you got off the bus to go back inside was you had to act like you, for whatever reason, were in a crash and there were downed wires outside, and you had to walk to the door, and you had to jump with your arms crossed across your chest and your 2 feet together, I guess to not form a current somehow.
What
And
on
you would have to,
earth?
yeah, you'd have to bunny hop back to the gymnasium doors because I don't know.
That
And
is
so
the
it was
most
cool. It was
ridiculous
fun.
thing.
It was fun. It was fun freshman year, kind of silly sophomore year, really stupid junior, and then by by senior year, kids would just be walking off the bus. No one cared.
Yeah, I mean, that that seems like something like that the like whoever's in charge of that like just made up because they wanted to see how many idiots would just jump with their arms crossed and bunny
I
hop all
mean,
the way back to the gym.
plenty of idiots did it. So
I don't know. That doesn't seem like it would be like something anybody would do if they got in a crash and there were downed wires. I'm not gonna bunny hop over stuff like that.
well, we did.
I don't
Well,
know about
you,
that.
sir, are not going to be safe then if you were
I
surrounded by downed wires.
I don't know if the science checks out on that, but maybe it does. I'm interested.
Maybe
Maybe
it
if it,
does. Maybe you're crazy.
any like electrical engineers in the audience want to clarify
Any
if
electricians?
that electricians, yeah, or bus drivers maybe clarify.
Yeah, or bus drivers. Shout out to bus drivers.
Yeah, we love bus drivers. Remember when Thank the Bus Driver was a meme because of like Fortnite? That was a thing that happened.
Yeah. Did you always
Um,
thank the bus driver?
yeah, I always think the bus. You better you did right.
Yeah, of course. Like I
Of
said,
course.
it was my boy Luis,
Even
so I knew
even
him
if they
personally.
weren't even if they weren't like a nice bus driver, you still thank them. It didn't matter. I always did it. Like some of my bus
Yeah,
drivers
I
like
mean they're doing a service. They're
right.
driving you home. It's I
It's
wouldn't
a
do it. I don't want to drive a
right.
bus full of screaming kids.
Oh, now here's the thing, right? Did you ever give anything to your bus driver as like a Christmas
Yes,
gift
I
or
did.
something?
I did
I did
actually.
that too. My mom always made me do
My
that.
mother would do it.
Yeah. We like usually it was like a $10 Dunkin' Donuts gift card or something.
Yeah, it wasn't like a big thing. It was usually just like a yeah, something like that.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of nice. Not I mean, I don't think that's something everybody has to do, but I guess
It's
we
you
were
got to
just
realize they're people too.
right. Yeah.
I mean, they got
Um,
to enforce the rules. You can't be throwing yourself out of the bus window, but they don't. I'm sure as much as you wouldn't want to be driving a bus full of screaming kids, they don't want to do it. Like
yeah,
it's a job.
I'm sure they don't get paid enough, so they probably appreciate anything like that.
Yeah, right.
Um, oh, oh yeah. Did you? So yeah, the fire drill, right?
hmm
Ours was different. We like I think it was once or twice a year. They would just in the morning, when we got to school before we could go in for class, they would just have everybody instead of walking out the main door, just jump out the emergency exit and then walk back onto the bus to get your bags and then walk out the bus the real way. And it was
Okay,
like,
now
okay,
that you mentioned that, we did do that. We also
okay.
did that, but you would
Wait,
take your bags with you.
so I don't know what other thing you were doing because I'm pretty sure that was not the real fire emergency training. I think that was
Well,
just
okay.
making you look
So
stupid.
no. The the jumping out the back of the bus, like the emergency door, that was just for everybody that rode the bus. Like that was just one morning you'd be like, all right, we're getting off out of the back door.
Hmm.
And then the thing I'm talking about, where they went through all like the emergency exits and brought in the groups of kids to jump off the bus in like the electricity thing, that was for if you were signed up for a sport for the school and you had to like travel on the bus to meets. It was only for kids like that.
Oh, okay. So that okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Right. Did you ever have cameras like installed on your buses at any point?
Um, Probably. I I'm sure they were on there. I don't really remember them, but I'm sure that they were there. I
Yeah.
think it might be a law to have them for child safety.
Yeah, well, basically, I think like because a bunch of troublemakers were making trouble on
Those damn troublemakers,
trouble
always making trouble.
that was a funny thing. I didn't even mean to say that, but that's funny. But yeah, well, because a bunch of kids were acting up, they had
Because
to
a
like
bunch of troublemakers were making trouble.
yes, exactly. They put cameras on the buses. This was probably like sometime when I was in middle school, and they kind of stayed there. But like I don't think they were ever plugged in. Like they were just like those like
Yeah,
round caps
that's
that like I don't know. They didn't I don't think they ever worked or like anything.
ours were the ones where you could like see the lens and like the little red LED lights out around the lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess.
So we had those, so I'm sure they were plugged in, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was just like a black semicircle or like a hemisphere, I guess. And like it was just on the ceiling of the bus. There's one in the front, one in the back. But like I really don't think those were ever used or worked because I don't know.
Hmm.
It just didn't seem like possible. Like there was no
Here,
wiring.
here's a. I got the question of a lifetime for you. Where was the best seat on the bus?
Oh, it's the wheel seat.
Oh, of course. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, a lot of people will disagree because they think, oh, you're gonna get bumped all the time. That's the fun of it.
That's the point.
That is the point. That's a whole nother thing I forgot to talk about. Is like just the physicality of riding the bus is easily the most enjoyable part, especially during like the younger years of riding the bus, where like you would go like if you hit a bump and you're on the wheel seat, if you're a third grader, you're going to touch the ceiling, you know?
Yeah, that's the best part of the whole bus experience is
Right.
rocking and rolling.
Like just not having to wear a seatbelt was such a foreign concept to me when I first started riding the bus. Like it almost feels like how did they get away with that? Like shouldn't it be
I don't
shouldn't
know.
you
I don't think I ever wore a seatbelt on the bus.
right, you'd think like little kids and like a giant bus would like how could you get away with not having people wear seatbelts? But nobody has ever had to wear a seatbelt on the bus, even though they do have them technically.
There's
I've never
also
had to.
there was always a sign on the front of our bus, like up by where the driver was, that would be like, "Hi, my name is Mrs. whatever, Mrs. Johnson, the driver. Please, no food, no drink, and wear your seatbelt." And it was like, "Yeah, sure, lady."
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, lady. We'll do that.
Yeah. Um, I think the last story I have about the bus, and this is the one I don't really remember exactly how it happened because I mean a lot of similar things happen like this, but like it was one of the bus drivers who like didn't really care too much about the job, um, and like she basically like one day it was really icy out and she was going down like a really steep hill that she usually went down and like she was trying to slow down for the intersection but she just was not like it was not working and everybody like everybody just like heads started poking up above the seats and being like we're like what's going on and we started looking out the windows and we're like oh my god we're not slowing down and she's like the bus driver literally yelled out hold on and I'm like oh boy.
That's so great. Hold on.
It felt like a scene out of a movie, you know, it was crazy.
On
And
the
then, like we
middle
she
school
just
bus. Hold on.
yeah, I'm pretty sure we went over the curb and we had to like she had to like check if every kid was okay because like the procedures or whatever, and we were like okay we're fine. And I think the tire was actually like bent somehow on the bus, so they had to like get a new bus for us after that. And like I don't know about you, but like they sometimes like if a bus was under repair, you just get a completely different model bus, and it would feel like so weird because like the seats would be like really short or something
Yeah. I don't know
compared to
why
the
that
normal bus.
happened. Like our yeah, I remember that. Every once in a while, like, the bus would pick us up and it would just be a different type of bus.
Right, like
And
the seats on one bus, like you could not see over them, and then like the
right.
next day you'd get on a bus and like you could literally
You
hang your
could
arms over the seat in front of you.
you could tell that one bus was like newer and more fancier
Oh
and
yeah,
more modern than
and
the
it was the
others.
one that of course our school would not buy. It was just a temporary bus.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And I know, have you ever rode on one of those like small buses, like the half buses? I have never, but
No,
or
Jack,
was
I
that
didn't ride the
yours?
short bus.
Is that what that's called? Uh, well, I don't know. That's just for like neighborhoods that don't have as many people, right? Or is that for like handicap? Because I think they have like a machine in that one,
I
right?
believe it is for the handicapped and special needs students
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. I don't know. I
because
thought,
I think there's a lift for like wheelchairs in the back seat.
yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I think I
But no,
covered pretty much everything I could think about for buses. I miss it. I miss the experience. It was wild.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we definitely have touched all bases today.
Yep. The wheels on the bus do go round and
They
round.
go round and round.
Yep.
I'm very happy with leaving it off right here and
Yep.
saying hopefully everything gets better before next week. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna have to go to Ukraine and solve this little problem.
Yeah.
And
If this conflict doesn't stop, I'm going to have to get involved.
I'm gonna intervene. What are you gonna do?
Yep.
I'm built different.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you so much for listening. As always, send us an email if you feel so inclined to tell us about your bus time stories. And yeah, don't
Sounds
don't be
good.
worried. Everything's gonna be okay, and you shouldn't be worried about stuff you can't really control.
Right.
So
That
yeah.
that 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 is a big part of it. A lot of people, especially with, internet, social media, you focus too much on stuff that it's really nothing you could ever involve yourself with, like overseas stuff. Just
Mm-hmm.
don't think about it. It doesn't affect you directly until it does. I mean, there's some exceptions to that, of course. You've got relatives, or like it will affect you, some people. But for the
Right.
most part, you don't really need to care as much about it. You don't really care that much. But we'll see. Hopefully, it pans out pretty well.
So
We'll see.
thanks so much. Until next time, we've been your lovely, sexy hosts, and we hope to see you next week.
Yep. Tune in next week. I got like a ton of stuff to talk about then too. I'm sure
Ooh.
Brock will have some stuff too.
Let's hope.
Let's
Give us the
hope.
countdown, Jack.
All right. Three, two, one.